Jahangir Khan. How do you define sporting greatness? What does it mean? Is it the ability to believe above all else when others are constantly doubting themselves? Is it the ability to be a champion against the odds when your health will not allow you? Is it to defy the odds and not capitulate at the very first sign of trouble? Is it to question yourself when you hit the first obstacle in your life? Well, listen to this story of a champion, the greatest, a conqueror with an unquenchable thirst to leave a legacy in life that not many will ever surpass in several lifetimes combined, a true warrior and a true champion. Jahangir Khan was born in Karachi on the 10th of December 1963. He is a former professional Pakistani squash player who won the World Open title 6 times and the British Open title 10 times between 1982 and 1991. Jahangir Khan's story is a one-off. It's a very special story, especially considering his humble upbringings and his struggles with his health and many other stumbling blocks as a youngster. This is a story of one of the greatest of all time, one of my best and most respected heroes as I was growing up. This is a tough and unrelenting story of never giving up no matter what, a tale of strength, honour, guts and glory, all rolled into one magnificent spectacle of a life well lived and well earned through his sporting endeavours and his off-court gentlemanly conduct. This is a formidable champion, a respected champion, a revered man who knew that you only fail when you stop trying, and he never stopped trying until the world got to know exactly who this maestro was. Jahangir was someone who made me train like a demon as I was growing up in my teens. He helped me to become a great squash player too, by truly inspiring me to push myself with my training regimes every single day. From my 500 sit-ups a day, my 100 push-ups, my 100 pull-ups every single day for years, my runs, my strength training, my strength and conditioning training, my multiple tournament victories were all as a result of me reading the books of this great man and watching his grainy black and white videos and occasional colour videos as I was growing up. Jahangir was a member of the Khan family and was born into a family of squash players. His father, Roshan Khan, won the British Open title in 1957 and his older brother was Torsum Khan. Now, he was a shy boy and was hampered by a childhood hernia, and the doctors told him to quit all sport or risk further injury. They said he would never amount to anything, unfortunately due to his constant weak health and his hernia, and as it appeared that he was also suffering from learning difficulties. It all started to look very grim for a young Jahangir, but he was made of sterner stuff than this, the real stuff, grit, determination, fortitude, and he had the squash balls to forge onwards regardless. Despite all of these setbacks, he began playing squash regularly, and after winning several junior tournaments, he showed signs of becoming another leading light in the Khan squash kingdom. It was when he was aged 11 that his father Roshan made a declaration that Jahangir Khan would one day become a world champion. So after being initially taught by his father Roshan, at 14 years old, Jahangir moved to England to then train with his elder brother Torsum Khan. So it was in 1979 when the Pakistani selectors decided not to select Jahangir Khan to play in the World Championships in Australia, and instead he entered the World Amateur Individual Championships, and at the age of 15 years old he became the youngest ever winner of that event. So already it was an incredible achievement, and he started to demonstrate his tenacity and his spirit to overcome everything that he had with his health when he was growing up. A superstar was born, and he single-handedly lifted the game to new heights through his on-court performances, his gentlemanly persona and his dedication to proving that hard work simply pays off, that applying yourself to being the best at your craft can pay you dividends in your life and help you to cement your legacy for the rest of your life. November 1979, Torsum Khan, who had been one of the leading international squash players in the 1970s, had a heart attack in a squash match in the Australian Open match in Adelaide, Australia, and sadly he died, and this in turn deeply affected Jahangir Khan. It had such a profound effect on him, and considered quitting the game, and said a light had gone off in his head and the love was disappearing and he just wanted to call it a day. Then something sparked within Jahangir after the death of his brother and in the weeks afterwards, and with the help of Ramat Khan he then decided to dedicate his life to squash and to pursue a career in the sport as a tribute to his brother. It was Remek Khan who helped and guided Jahangir Khan through most of his career from that point onwards. Jahangir had a simple but all-consuming motivation, honouring the promise he made to his family in memory of his late brother. He was prepared to put in more work than any other squash player in history. Everything he did, he dedicated to Torsum. He willingly absorbed the workload as he learned how to master every challenge thrown his way. This man is a legend. Jahangir, meaning the conqueror, will remain one of my top 3 idols of my life, and this great man is just one of the very best ever to grace any sport. Then after 5.5 years of world dominance in squash and thrilling the crowds, it was on November the 11th, 1986, when the great squash playing legend and New Zealander Ross Norman, who finally beat Jahangir Khan to halt the Pakistani legend's unbelievable and unsurpassable 5.5 year unbroken run of never losing a competitive match. 5.5 years of being unbeaten at the highest level of sport was unheard of and just so impressive. If you don't believe me, then just hear this. It is in the history books. Jahangir Khan is widely regarded as the greatest squash player of all time and one of the greatest sportsmen in Pakistani history. And like I say, from 1981 to 1986, Jahangir Khan was unbeaten, and during that time he won 555 consecutive competitive matches, the longest winning streak by any athlete in top level professional sport and as recorded by the Guinness World Records. This is why he is an idol for anyone out there. What he did against his opposition defies logic and cements his name as a champion forever. The karate conqueror's career as a true sporting great, given his dominance from 1981 to 1986, was finally derailed temporarily, and he even said afterwards, "It was bound to happen. I was constantly playing with so much pressure on my shoulders. Every single match, every single point, it was just becoming more and more pressurised," he said. "So I'm glad it's over, but I enjoyed the matches and I enjoyed the run." Once Norman finally ended the stranglehold that Jahangir Khan held, it was around now that we saw the emergence of his compatriot and future main rival, Jahangir Khan, who had burst onto the scene to set up many memorable matches over the years. Jahangir Khan once said on the rivalry, "Myself and Jahangir, we dominated for 16 years, and despite being surrounded by so many good players, we had many good duels." So what made Jahangir Khan the greatest and someone who never gave up despite his early setbacks? Jahangir's fellow professionals spoke of how once the glass door was shut, they felt as if they were already on the back foot, as Jahangir Khan's power, his ferocity from his racket work left them with little time to think, as he dominated the tee, stole their time, was so accurate, and how he dominated their minds. Now, Jahangir Khan retired as a player in 1993 and then served as president of the World Squash Federation from 2002 to 2008, and then later in 2008 he became honorary president of the World Squash Federation. Jahangir Khan's record is unlikely to ever be matched, and in his spirit of never giving up and going on to achieve what he did, he will never be matched in such a brutal sport. And as the great Jonah Barrington once said in the 80s, squash is boxing with rackets. When Jahangir Khan is asked about the 555 figure of unbeaten matches, he says, "If you calculate it, it could be more. I played invitational, exhibition, challenge matches." He says the 555 figure should only be my tournament matches, but it could be between 600 to 700 matches if you include the others, because I wasn't losing them either, he said. He is a legend, a pioneer, a lovely human being, a proper person, a maestro with a racket, and a true champion in such a fickle world. As someone who has won over 70 tournament trophies myself, in tournaments all around the UK, and knowing what it takes to go for a 64 draw and back up match after match, I can tell you how intense this is. And many a time in the 5th game I would look across at my opponent and tell myself during those times that I was Jahangir Khan, and this gave me the extra kick where now I know I could not be beaten, and this little trick helped me win many tournaments over the years, so thank you. And I will end by saying that Jahangir Khan for me is the best squash player of all time, and I feel that his record will never be passed in any sport, and he is a champion. Jahangir Khan, thank you always, and keep shining, my brother. I love you, man.